Yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Ashton Jackson, man. And in today's video, I want to give you guys a few Dallas Cowboy updates and some housekeeping notes, just to forewarn you guys about anything going on with the rest of the season. So before we hop into the video, I would appreciate if you guys would like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment, and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. So hopping straight into it, the reason why I have this image up on your guys' screen right now is because we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys season, right? So for me, I know the season is over, but again, still for the playoff hopefuls, anybody who think that we still have a chance to make the playoffs, which I don't, but for the people that do, and what it also means for the Dallas Cowboys, are they going to keep playing? Will the Dallas Cowboys try to quote unquote tank the rest of the season? Will they try to sit starters? Stuff like that, right? This game will determine how hard, or if the Dallas Cowboys will try to have starters play on a short week after tomorrow's game. And then don't forget the Dallas Cowboys, they do play on Christmas against the Washington Commanders. So basically, if the Philadelphia Eagles get a win versus the Commanders tonight, it will be a hat and t-shirt game. They will end the drought of it being for 20 years that the NFC East hasn't had a repeat division winner since 04-05. So if the Eagles get a win tonight against the Commanders, which I do think it will happen, the Eagles will ultimately clinch the division, and the Dallas Cowboys will be eliminated from the playoffs. But then, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys, they will try their best to try to get a win on Sunday against a really good and formidable opponent. And I think then, in my opinion, what I think the Dallas Cowboys should do is sit Dak, sit CD, sit Pickens. I understand people got fantasy football players, but we're just talking about real life, right? So, if things don't work out and the Philadelphia Eagles going to win, try your best to try to get a good win, then sit your starters for the rest of the year, because you don't want them going up against the Commanders in a crappy field and on a short week, and injuries can happen. And the Dallas Cowboys have been playing, short week games for a lot of times this year. So I would just try to give the team a rest and just focus on next year. So, but if the Philadelphia Eagles mess around and they do lose tonight, I think the Dallas Cowboys will try their damnedest to try and get a win on Sunday, try to get this thing back to 500, and the Dallas Cowboys will be forced to really play their starters and play against the Washington Commanders if the Philadelphia Eagles lose. We're going to be talking about coaching for the Dallas Cowboys. I feel like everyone on the offensive side of the football will remain and possibly will keep their jobs for the most part. I feel like Brian Schottenheimer will be here. OC Clay Adams will be here, and offensive line coach Connor Riley will be here. A person who I believe firmly will not be here is our DC, Matt Eberflus. Again, huge part as to why I feel like Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs and will not have a successful season will be because of this man. Now, I will also put the blame on the front office by getting rid of your best player on the team and then trying to pitch to fans that we're going to stop the run and our defense will be better. And it hasn't, because you got negative contributions in the pass rushing department and your secondary got exposed this year. But there's going to be a slight adjustment. Matt Eberflus will be sitting in the booth instead of being on the sidelines. I just ultimately felt like Brian Schottenheimer and all the players just want to they just want to give him a stern talking to. But no, I feel like, ultimately they're just trying to fade away Matt Eberflus, keep him up in the box, understand that the Dallas Cowboys will get rid of Matt Eberflus. And Jerry Jones finally had an awakening last week after the Vikings game that, it seems like all these offensive players finally have good games against us, but when they play other opponents, they don't look the same. So he's finally had an awakening about that. And then he also had a quote just saying with 3 games left, that will impact any adjustments that you make regarding coaching. So I really felt like Jerry Jones put Matt Eberflus on notice, and I feel like things will change next year. We will get a new DC. And then lastly, I'm going to be talking about the injuries to the cornerback room, right? So it just got reported an hour ago from Ian Rappaport that the Dallas Cowboys are likely to activate cornerback Trevon Diggs from IR. And it seems like he will play on Sunday. And ultimately, I feel like Trevon Diggs, he's probably going to play the last 3 games to quote-unquote either A, try to remain a Dallas Cowboy, depending on how hard his efforts are and depending on how well he plays. But I feel like if he doesn't if he doesn't average at least a pick or 2 picks a game, or he doesn't return to his old form to the Dallas Cowboy eyes and to our head coach and Brian Schottenheimer, I feel like he just won't be on the team regardless. So ultimately, I think they're going to play him because, again, DaRon Bland will be out for the remainder of the year, dealing with, again, another foot injury that he's going to have to require surgery. And it's going to happen to that same foot that he suffered in 2024 when he suffered that stress fracture in it. And it was reported at the time that he was going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. And he doesn't come back until week 12. So he hasn't been living up to what the Dallas Cowboys gave him for a contract. He's been, again, scheme changes, 2 different defensive coordinators in the past 2 years for him, want him to do 2 completely different things. And then, having late starts to late seasons, always having to deal with some type of adversity. It's been very tough on DaRon Bland, but still, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to have to look to either add someone in free agency that is competent to hold the fort down until DaRon Bland returns, and then you're possibly going to have to either double down. If you don't do anything in free agency, you're possibly going to have to double down in the draft to try and get you a corner either day 1 and possibly, depending if you trade down or not, if you get any day 2 picks, use that on a corner, or possibly try to get a really good slot corner, nickel corner if you can somehow in day 3 of the draft. But if you are the Dallas Cowboys, this is another part where you have to look at it and say, we're going to have to reconstruct this defense, but especially the secondary. The secondary definitely needs help, and we're going to need more players. So, again, just sum it all up. If the Philadelphia Eagles win today, the Dallas Cowboys will try their hardest to win a game and try to get a win against a formidable opponent on Sunday. But if it's up to me and the coaching staff, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to try to play a lot of their starters on Christmas versus the Commanders with such a terrible field. And then 9-10 days later, you'll have to play the Giants at MetLife. And I don't think the Dallas Cowboys want to put all that wear and tear on some of their players that they know they're going to bring in from next year. But if the Eagles do lose today, the Dallas Cowboys will try to get a win on Sunday, and then they'll definitely play their starters on Christmas to try and win and possibly try to make it into the playoffs if they can. But that'll be very tough. DaRon Bland is facing a season-ending injury. Dallas Cowboys will possibly have to look to add 2 corners, and Trevon Diggs more than likely will play tomorrow versus the Chargers. So that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you guys tonight talking about the Cowboys versus Chargers preview matchup. And we will know the Dallas Cowboys' fate, and will they be playing for something or they won't. Bye.
Yeah. Say shit about this and about that. They got shit to say about everything, but let's get to the fact. I see them trying to cut out all the real shit. Like